Jake's heart pounded as he stared at the report card in his trembling hands. Every subject had the same result, a big red F. He had failed every exam again. The hallway felt cold and hostile as whispers of failure echoed around him. Jake felt utterly defeated and alone. Tears blurred his vision. He remembered his teacher's disappointed words. "You're just not cut out for academics, Jake." He dreaded going home, picturing his parents' disappointed faces. He believed he was nothing but a failure. Jake sat alone on the school steps, head in his hands, wondering if he'd ever be good at anything. His world was crashing down, and he was ready to give up. A week later, Jake stumbled upon an old radio in a junk pile on his way home. Hoping to distract himself from his gloom, he took it apart and managed to fix it after hours of tinkering. For the first time in a long time, he felt a spark of pride and excitement. Maybe he wasn't hopeless after all. Maybe he had a talent that exams couldn't measure. Jake spent his afternoons at the local library, reading about electronics. He failed repeatedly at first. His homemade circuits often didn't work, and his room was littered with burnt wires and broken gadgets. But each failure taught him something new. Instead of feeling defeated, Jake grew more determined. "I won't give up," he whispered to himself. On long nights when circuits kept failing, his hands would be covered in grease and his notebook filled with crossed-out ideas, but he kept trying. One day, a storm hit his town and the power went out for hours. Jake noticed his elderly neighbor struggling in the dark. Remembering his tinkering, he hurried home and grabbed a makeshift battery-powered lamp he'd built. It was one of his experiments that barely worked at first, but he had refined it over months. With a deep breath, he turned it on, and it glowed brightly. Success! Jake's improvised lamp helped not only his neighbor but several families on his street that night. Word spread quickly that the kid everyone called a failure had brought light when there was none. Encouraged, Jake focused all his energy on improving the device. He worked day and night, tweaking the design to make his lamp brighter and last longer. There were moments of frustration. One prototype exploded in sparks, and another refused to turn on despite weeks of work. Still, he persevered. The memory of how his invention helped others fueled him through setbacks. After countless attempts, Jake finally perfected a low-cost, solar-charged lamp. At the school science fair, he demonstrated it in front of teachers and classmates who had once doubted him. As the gymnasium lights dimmed, Jake's lamp alone shone, illuminating dozens of astonished faces. It was the climax of his journey, from a boy who failed every exam to an inventor who could light up the dark. News of Jake's invention quickly spread beyond his town. A local news story about the science fair was picked up nationwide. Soon, an international charity reached out to him. They wanted to send his affordable lamps to communities around the world with little electricity. Jake could hardly believe it. The boy who once felt worthless now saw his work making a real difference. A little girl from a village overseas wrote to him, saying she could now study at night thanks to his lamp. "Thank you, Jake," she wrote. "I want to learn as much as I can, just like you." As he read those words, Jake's eyes filled with tears of joy. His parents, who once worried about his grades, hugged him tight, bursting with pride. Teachers who had once written him off shook his hand and congratulated him. Jake proved that success can bloom in the unlikeliest of places, and that with persistence and kindness, one person truly can change the world. Jake's story shows that failing in one path doesn't mean failing in life. Everyone has their own talent or passion. Sometimes it just takes time to find it. Failure is not the end. It's the beginning of something greater. If you found Jake's journey inspiring, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more uplifting stories.